Book your driving lesson now at dla-driving.co.uk. Sponsored by DLA Driving Schools.
Hello and welcome to Owen the Town. You can tell, can't you? Another disappointing week as a Hatter as we see two more defeats. I thought one with a little bit more hope than the other, in all honesty. Defeat at Oxford following three extremely poorly defended goals. I can't say anything more than that. I think we gave them the game. And then followed by an absolute miserable, I don't even know how else to describe it, a miserable home performance against Millwall. It's hard to take anything from that game. And 1-0. I suppose it was that way. Fans told the team what they thought. And some left, some stayed, some booed. We're going to talk about the game. I'm really feeling down about this, boys, before I even get to you guys. Transfer window is still open. We need to do some big signings for this transfer window. We asked you guys, what do we need? How many do we do? And will they help us stay up? Yeah. Got your 3-word. I'm so fed up. The 3-word reviews. We've got a full house. Strap yourselves in. This could be a really rocky one. It could be. Boys, we're all here. Darren, Steve and Bataro, welcome along tonight. I'm so sorry about the negative intro.
Yeah, whatever.
Has much happened when I've been away?
No, not really.
Just more of the status quo, mate.
Yeah.
It's one of those evenings where you sit here and think, how on earth did this happen? How did we get to this position where you turn up at home and, half the time you're not even interested in watching because it's that poor?
They just look completely broken. Mm-hmm. Mentally, they look absolutely shot. And obviously we'll talk as we go on, but at the moment that they've got nothing to give.
I mean, before we sort of slug into Saturday's game, I'm assuming we all watched, I know I watched it because we were there, but the Oxford game, I started off with a lot of, optimism, especially when we scored first.
Yeah, and the fact we scored 2 goals as well, but also conceded 3. But no, I mean, it wasn't that bad, was it? I don't think it was. Outside
of the 2 boxes, mm-hmm. I thought there was a lot that was improved. You know, some of the build-up play, there was a certain tempo to it. There was purpose to it, but the goals were scored by a midfielder and a defender again.
And it's errors that are costing us as well.
I mean, I have to say very quickly on that Oxford game, I don't want to say attitude, but it just seemed like it. That was worse. Elijah's worst game for us. I was staggered that he came out for the second half. There was no press from him. He just ambled about. He never won a header. He looked so disinterested. It was one of the worst performances from him because to me it really didn't seem to be putting it in.
Especially as that was probably his audition for Bloomfield, because it's clear he played Morris in the Preston game, and he went to Oxford and went, well, go on then, here's your chance to be the man up top. Yeah. And to put in like you said, Steve, to put in a performance like that with a body language like that is unacceptable.
Yeah.
How was the mood changed? I mean, look, I know we do this on socials, and and we say every week, you're entitled to your own opinion on socials and you can make your opinion. But how has it got so negative everywhere? Everywhere. It's not just the club, it's all around the club. And that's gone from all that positivity we had from back-to-back promotions and stuff like that. And now everybody is so down, it's ridiculous.
I think everyone's just sick of it, to be honest with you.
Sorry, so I was about to say it's the mentality, the losing mentality we've got now as well. Yeah. I think that's the losing mentality is now set in, and the fans have now accepted it. I think we've accepted it. The fact that we are absolutely a sham.
But also that I still think you can't necessarily put your finger on one particular thing of what's caused this. And clearly, we'll come on to it, but we've tried something and that's seemingly not working. So I think it's just this overall frustration of we don't know what's caused it, we don't know what's happening, we don't know how to fix it, and we're just as collectively in the doldrums, aren't we? And we see it happening at Spurs as well. They're different levels, but they're going through the same, aren't they? And like you said, Batari, when you're in this state of mind, even a penalty save couldn't fix it at the weekend. It's something needs to pick us up, but I don't know what.
I think you can look at pretty much sort of all different angles as to what's happened. To be honest with you, we lost so many games in the Premier League. However, we were in nearly every game, and it was a free hit as we've discussed, and we were so pro the team, and you could feel it. There was a real togetherness. The club themselves said that they were expecting much better things this season, so I think maybe some fans' expectations come from that. Really poor pre-season. We've looked unfit. In my opinion, the board held on to the manager too long, so the board have made mistakes. I don't think that they've helped with particularly good windows. We've had previous manager that was making the same mistakes time and time again, and then we had the hangover where the players were carrying on in this vein of sort of not winning games. And I think everyone's just sick of it. And now, something that I saw on a Saturday, the players are completely scared. Some of them, Nakamba, there was 2 or 3 times where the ball was taken off him because he was on the ball and he just froze. Now, the 2 previous games, I think he's played well, but we were so slow and ponderous on the ball, scared to make a pass, scared to make a decision, an attack. And they just took the ball off us.
And we didn't even attack the ball as well. I think there was a moment in the first half, I believe, where Jacob Brown and I'm unsure if it was Kraus, and the ball got lofted over towards the edge of the area, and they both just watched the ball. Either way, it was both their ball, and then they lost out on it because no one attacked the ball. No one wanted the ball.
I mean, those 2 centre-backs for Millwall, one they were huge, but 2, they just mopped up everything. I mean, at least Morris had a go at trying to win some of the headers. No one else did.
Again, we'll come back to that about the game, about Morris being up there. But, you look at what we've spent on McGuinness, and then you look at Cooper and you go, that's a championship defender. An absolute monster of a man.
I think McGuinness has played quite well. I think compared to what we've got in the moment.
He can't defend a cross. He can't. He's got no positional sense on the cross.
He was one of the ones responsible for the 3 men at Oxford leaving the guy behind free, and he done it again on Saturday, where the guy sort of chopped on the volley and didn't catch it cleanly. But that's twice he's looked at his man and then left him and gone forward to mark someone who's already marked.
Arguably, he's our biggest goal threat for scoring, but our biggest goal threat for defending.
Can I just add one very positive moment for me at Oxford was when Alfie came back on. Oh, he just looked a class above everyone.
Yeah.
And he shouldn't do, should he? Out for 10 weeks and he comes on and he's immediately...
Right. So we're looking for a positive, not the negative part of that story. But you're right. I think he done really well. And unfortunately for us, I mean, he looked devastated we'd lost.
Yeah.
And you just can't understand that last goal at Oxford. You just cannot look at that and say anything more than,
If you'd have done that at school, you'd have got lines.
We'd have probably missed those as well.
But there was that one photo, I think, sort of on some social media where you could see a large part of the area in the goalie, and it was labelled, "This is not photoshopped." There is no Luton defender in this picture.
Yeah,
it was shocking.
It was shocking and very disappointing because at that point I thought we were a stronger team than them at that point.
Yeah, we were. I thought we were passing the ball nicely. There was one move that we done where we were attacking the goal down to the left. The end
one with the stand.
The end with the stand. Yeah. Okay. And it was a sort of 3 one-touch passes, and it opened it up for Elijah. And he just took so long; he didn't even get the shot away. Amari got roasted by that.
Do
that's the disappointing thing. You're right. Amari Bell has been poor, Batara.
Yeah, it's slow.
I mean, maybe it's because he hasn't played left back. He hasn't had to deal with a lot of pace going down the wings for a long time. He's been playing back 3, hasn't he? Last couple of seasons or so. Maybe he has lost his legs a little bit, and we're starting to see that. But it's hard to say, isn't it? When he hasn't played there for a long time, maybe it's a He's maybe just forgotten how to play at left back at all. I don't know.
Yeah.
Might be.
I suppose the only good thing about Oxford away is pretty close journey. So we got home pretty well.
And you weren't driving. Yeah.
And I weren't driving, and I was drinking. All good. That's all I can say about it all.
Terrible.
Enough said about Oxford. You just have to forget about it and move on. So you're thinking, move on. We're going to play Millwall. Millwall haven't won away for a while. We'll be all right. And we'll show them that we can play well. Let's talk about Millwall.
Yeah, I think the first thing to ask is why do the cameras? Why do they show that game nearly every season live?
Well, because they think it's gonna be saucy. It never is.
Yeah,
never
it's
It
always
never
a turgid game, and it's absolutely rubbish every
even
season.
at their place. Even at their place. I mean, we scored a great goal at their place, but it was a poor game.
That was probably the last time we scored from outside the box.
Right. Okay. Let's move on. Luton 0,
From
Millwall.
open play, yeah.
Probably last time we won.
Luton 0, Millwall 1. Let's have a look at your 3-word reviews. Helen says deja vu. Phil, season's worst performance. Bradley, boring to watch. Rob, 2 awful teams. Pete, board are accountable. Sam, League 1 looming. Dom, no manager bounce. Clive, disgraceful player's attitude. Ben, Phil for Bloomfield. And Richard, he asked the question we all want to know the answer to. Who's to blame? Let's all take one each, guys.
So, I'll be honest, I'll take the first one then. No manager bounce. Oh, sorry, Darren. I do apologise, mate. You can also have that. I didn't copy your homework. Don't worry. But I'm going to take that. Also take that one because in the situation we're currently in, I genuinely thought we'd get something of a response from the players, and we have not got. We've got absolutely nothing. And the fact that we haven't got. How many points have we got to show for it? 1 point out of possible 9 is very worrying because I feel like if we got anything, maybe 4 or 5 or anything over,
Isn't it 1 point out of the last 7 games?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the thing. It's nothing. Nothing has changed. So I was equally, as you heard, I was going to go with no manager bounce. You've looked at Potter going in at West Ham and Moyes at Everton.
It happens everywhere but us.
It happens everywhere but us. And actually, the 2 home games, I didn't go to Oxford, but the 2 home games, Edwards could have been in charge. Nothing has changed. And dare I say, on Saturday, it was still a little bit square pegs and round holes.
Yes.
That is not a left forward or a left winger. He's a wing back. So it's exciting to have him back. You're right, Dave, and he's that little bit of quality that the only little bit of quality we've got left. We've got Kaminsky. But, but he was played not in his position. He
hasn't played that position, I don't think, for about 4 years.
And then don't even get me started on Jacob Brown. I was absolutely lambasted a few months ago for saying he's a League One player. Well, I dare anyone to tell me he's not.
Yeah.
Because I got roasted in the comments about that, and he's done nothing since I made that comment to show anything otherwise.
No, he was shocking.
But equally, if I say to you, what is Jacob Brown? Is he a forward? Is he a striker? Because I know he ain't a winger, and that's where he was playing. So I'm watching the game on Saturday, going, am I seeing anything different to what, apart from he's playing with a back 4, that literally could be Robbie Edwards in the dugout. We've seen nothing from Bloomfield, and I don't want to get his back this early on, although it sounds like I am. But you're right, we needed we needed something. It came too late, Steve. He should have gone after Middlesbrough. We've left it too late, but then you think, okay, well, at least they've done it. Let's get this manager bounce. Something needs to change, and literally nothing has changed.
Sorry, go on, Dave.
Do you think Matt Bloomfield's sitting there going, what have I done?
Yeah, 100%.
Maybe a little. Yeah, maybe a little bit. I mean,
he's got some job on his hands, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. I mean, at the end of the game, there was a few people in the Kenworth booing him. And I'm sorry, and I don't want to sort of claim any moral high ground, but. Really, that's just stupid. It's been their core.
Seriously, people are booing him.
Really, only a few. But
3 games.
For
ridiculous.
Christ's sake, it's not his fault. And we have seen some improvements in the structure of our play.
Yeah, and the tempo,
it hasn't materialised to anything yet. But so that was just ridiculous. I've gone. Clive, disgraceful player's attitude. And I hate to say it. But when the players were coming around doing their sort of clapping at the end of the game, there was a lot of booing and a lot of people shouting. Some of the players were just turned away, not looking at it. Now, I'm sorry, man up. You're responsible for your performances. Take it on the chin. See how much you're pissing people off. and sort it out. You know, so many people, it's nothing to do with me. I'm looking away. They must be booing at someone else. They're all responsible, and they've all got to get on with it.
Yeah, rightly said as well.
I find it hard to. I think I understand what you're saying, Steve. Right? I understand that bit. I understand that frustration that everyone has, but I do find it very, very hard to put any vitriol towards a player when they're walking around. If they don't want to hear it, walk off, and then they'll get lambasted for that.
Well, I want to say to them how pissed off I am about what I perceive as a real lack of belief and attitude and desire to achieve. And, you know, I didn't boo, but I was certainly having a go at them.
I left.
You left?
I left. I didn't.
What strikes as soon as the whistle went, you mean?
Slightly before the whistle went, because I was so really pissed off.
It was probably his round, and he wanted to get out of the way.
I was going to say, I didn't see him anywhere on the bus.
I'm with you, Dave. I'm not going to boo. As frustrated as I am, and we can hear it in your voice, Steve, and we're all frustrated.
Yeah, so I didn't boo, but I certainly let him know.
I'd hark back to the Bournemouth game quite a lot, but we stood there, Dave, and they did come over, and they stood in front of us and faced us all that day, didn't they?
They did, yeah. And then we didn't talk all the way home.
And we didn't
for
4 hours on the way home.
Every cloud's got a silver lining.
But I'm kind of in the middle there, because actually, you know, and I do think that was the beginning of our downfall in the Premier League season. But they stood there and faced us all and apologised. And you're right. There needs to be them coming around and facing us. There has to be some accountability.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're saying. You know, these are wealthy men, not doing their job particularly well at the moment, and they've they've got to face it.
It seems like a denial that they feel that they're responsible for it, but by sort of just turning it away and not looking.
It's almost like, you know, obviously when we went out to the Premier League, right? It's almost like, for example, in a normal workplace office, someone gets the role of manager. They all get the role of manager. They're all fucking going out there, blah blah blah, and doing whatever. Oh, we're in control now. All of a sudden, they drop down, they get demoted or whatever, relegated from the Premier League, and then obviously you lose your job status as manager. Back down to nowhere. Go. Do you know what? Couldn't give a fuck anymore. Mm-hmm. Do not care.
So
it's almost like that a little bit for me.
I'm directing you back to the 3-word reviews. One more. Richard says, "Who's to blame? Who's to blame?" Darren, you have a go on that one. Who's to blame? Is it the managers? Is it the board? It's just. Do the players have to take more responsibility than they have?
Of course they do.
I think for me, you know, we always used to say it's probably a three-pronged thing, but I think now you look at it and go, I'm not sure whether it is the manager now. And actually, Rob Edwards is probably sat at home going, meh. You know, I think Bloomfield has gone in. He's probably excited by the project and then realised he hasn't got the players to play his style. So I'm coming away from the managers a little bit. I think Edwards could have changed and tried something different. So his stubbornness didn't help him keep his role. But I think where we're at maybe isn't the manager's fault. I think that we don't know what it's like. You know, I know what it's like to be in the stands as a fan and see the razzmatazz of the Premier League and then come down to the Championship and you've got Preston at home and you go, how do you get excited for that? So as a player, how do you get excited for that? But surely you get over that after half a dozen games. Like, they don't seem to have got over that hangover. For me, it's increasingly, and I think this is where a lot of the fans are coming from, increasingly it's heading towards the board. The poor transfer windows, and they have been poor transfer windows. Our transfer policy of getting older, injured players, Baptiste. Who signed Baptiste? Who signed that off? Because that is ridiculous.
Well, we've spoken about the injury-prone players before that we've signed, and that has got to stop. You know, I mean, Shandon is just one of a few, and it's absolutely disgrace. I think it is the board. I think the board have taken their eye off things because they've been looking at the shiny new stadium. Yeah. I think, understandably, that is vitally important. But I think over the last 2 or 3 windows, they've really taken their eyes off the ball. Yeah.
And I do think at this stage as well is, we're yet to see what Bloomfield's gonna achieve. But it's sort of the lack of intent from them. You know, look, in the January of the Premier League, they should have gone out and got a striker. I've said it before, a Kiefer Moore style striker who's been there, done it, who could have maybe got half a dozen goals in the end of the season and maybe just got us those extra points to keep us up. No, didn't do it. You know, we've come down and you know, we got money for Barkley, we got money for Ogbene, and we spent 7 million on a McGuinness. But what else have we done? Where is their intent? They came out and gave us lip service of, you know, we want to be challenging, we want to be up there.
Yeah.
You know, they built us up to think we're going to be up there.
Yeah.
And they've done nothing about it. You know, and here we are. How many days is it? Just January, the transfer window? Does it shut?
It's Friday, isn't it?
We're 4 days away.
Yeah.
They've brought in a new manager.
And we're putting in a third bid.
A third bid.
Yeah.
Right. In all fairness, and we probably need to shake things up, but this is a lad that hasn't done anything in the Championship. What was he? 14 from 28 in League One. I think I read something like 6 million it's going to.
Yes, yeah.
They've just sent a lad off for 3 million.
Yeah,
you know,
he wanted to go to Huddersfield.
Yeah, I get it. But do you know what I mean? What are they doing? It's either spend the money and get someone in because you need to do something, or have some intent. And instead of bringing Bloomfield in, and I know we probably haven't got the money for a Cooper or a Wagner, but if they'd gone and got one of those and chucked money at it, then you kind of go, right, we're trying, but who are we bringing in? What kind of player are we bringing in? Who have we been linked to? You know, and ultimately at the moment it feels like they've brought in a manager which is like for Edwards, and I'm not seeing the intent. So a long-winded answer to your question, Dave. I'm 70-75%. It's the board's fault that we're where we are.
I forgot the question I asked there for a minute. It's just like, I told you it was going to be a big night tonight, boys and girls. If you're listening and watching still, if you're still with us and agreeing, just make some comments on YouTube. If you haven't liked and subscribed already, please do. It does help us loads. Okay, we can talk about the transfer window in a bit. The transfer window's coming to a close, and we'll talk about that in a bit. Can we just gloss over the game a little bit?
No.
Okay.
No.
No.
That's not,
okay, the
that's
first
not.
thing I want to say is... I only remember really a big chance from when Morris crossed the ball and I think
the header headed wide, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. Honestly, and it was a toenail away really.
Looked like a salmon, didn't he, as well?
Yeah.
I mean, he had a couple of headers. He had one from a corner from Alfie, and he seemed to get ahead of it a little bit. It was down at the Kenilworth Road end. He seemed to get ahead of the cross, but again, it was good, sort of, you know, a good cross in from Alfie, thank goodness. But yeah, but the header where he got ahead of it. It went straight out at Jacob, sort of thigh level. But he just didn't do anything with it.
Okay, so look, we all knew that we weren't playing well, and Millwall just took advantage of that. They took advantage of that, and they played. And then I'm skipping to the penalty because it's really peed me off. Now the penalty is down my end, where I stand directly opposite the goal, and the ball was out of play. By a mile.
Yeah.
By a mile.
I was going to say, what happened, Dan? I'll be honest, I haven't watched any of the...
Listen, the ball went out of play. The linesman, who couldn't see past two white posts, obviously, and the referee decided it didn't. It was way off. I can't tell you how far off the pitch it was before it was crossed back in for the guy to be fouled.
Yeah.
And it was a penalty foul.
Oh, yeah.
So you
undoubtedly.
can't moan about that bit. But the ball wasn't in play. It had gone off. I was livid. Thank God it was a shit penalty.
Yeah.
Which I called my good friend Keith. He said, "What do you reckon?" I went, "He's going to put it straight down the middle."
He's that kind of player, isn't he? Because he played for us a few games, didn't he? That Connolly. He's a little bit. He's a bit like that Jason Cummings. He's a little bit short man syndrome, a bit arrogant, and he probably thinks he. The irony. But he probably thinks he's going to knock that down the middle and look like the big man. But fair play to Kaminsky.
Yeah, I was going to say he just got it with a trailing foot. So I mean, that was good, and that gave us some oomph for 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, the crowd actually made noise for about 10 seconds, didn't they?
Yeah,
it did. It felt like massive. That. You know, when Luton are at our best when we think when the world's against us.
Yeah.
You know, and we are at our best then. And it was like this. I actually thought this is the turning point. Now we go.
So did I. And how wrong were we?
Literally, like you said, Pataro. 30 seconds later, nope.
No,
the referee is probably one of the worst ones we've had down there.
Oh, he's a prick, that bloke. It's Gavin Ward, wasn't it?
Gavin Ward. As soon as I see him walk out, I went, oh, here we go.
He's consistently weak and petty.
Yes, yeah.
Not one corner came over before he went to go and have a little chat with
Yeah.
him. No, don't you go touching each other, lad. But he does it every single time, and it is the same turgid crap with him every time.
Yeah.
It's a bit much when every week the man of the match is almost your goalkeeper every week.
Yeah,
Batare. Before we come on air, you said you're livid. So
Dave, honestly, I lost my head on Saturday. First 20 minutes, I think that was setting the pace and setting the standard, of the game. I mean, the fact that you're trying to go high with the ball against two centre halves that are 6'6" plus,
guys, yeah.
You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you're trying to loft the ball up in the air. I think the ball must have touched the floor for about 10 seconds of the first minute and a half. It was almost like head tennis.
Yeah.
Well, go on, no, let's see if we can out jump these 7 foot fucking giants. No, you cannot, you absolute bunch of knobheads. That's what I felt like saying. And it got worse. Second half, no one looking. Oh, there's the ball. Let's loft it again. Let's try and beat the back four or whatever with a lofted through ball. Oh no, you're not doing that either because there's no one there. There's no one running. There's no one even looking.
It was staggering how many hopeful passes into an area.
Yeah, no one was there.
Mads Anderson, McGuinness. There was so many just hopeful passes.
But they must have been told to do that. They must have been given the tactics to play that way.
Oh,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
don't know, mate.
I think it was panic, mate. I think half it was panic.
Well,
you could see the apprehension when they were on the ball, particularly the midfielders and the defenders. When they were on the ball, they were scared of being on the ball, and we haven't seen that for a long, long time. But they were, and because of that, they were indecisive. They held onto the ball. It was taken off them. It happened time and time again. I mean, okay, for me, I'm not. Jordan Clark was one of our better players because he endlessly tried to get hold of the ball. He endlessly tried to move the ball and get some tempo going.
Yeah, and the thing is, you knew things were bad. Even Kraus kept falling over. Even he kept falling over. He looked like a bloody bobblehead, just like he just couldn't, you know what I mean? It was whoop, here we go.
But you can try. You can run around like Edler's chicken all you want. But
no, he wasn't. He was running with the ball, looking for someone who was going to make a move so he could pass it to. He was one of the only ones, for me, that was running with the ball, trying to find someone to pass to, but no one else was making runs for him.
I'll tell you, all I will say is about Saturday's game. All I will say, I really wish I went to watch 11-a-side on a Sunday, Sunday morning or whatever, like that sort of standard. Or Saturday afternoon football these days, I think it is.
My son's game in the morning was electric. It was brilliant. Yeah.
Because the thing is, right, you can go and watch fat blokes at 50 years old. No, I'm not talking about you.
What are you saying?
No, not you, mate. Not you. You can go watch big fat geezers, right? Punt the ball 50 yards up in the air. And go, yeah, go on, Keith, go nutty, mate, go on, everybody. Yes, you can go and watch that on a Saturday afternoon. You don't have to watch that on a Saturday at Luton Town when these geezers are getting paid 25 grand plus a week, David.
Sorry, can we just bring this? Let's just bring this back a bit.
I just
it's the quality standard it was, though. It was shit.
Yeah, but we were playing more. I was told that, or led to believe that Bloomfield plays a attacking front three or whatever. We yet see it because we just haven't got those kind of players. But to put Morris up front on his own against, especially Cooper, is mind-boggling. Yeah. But at least Bloomfield did something about it, and because I put it in our group message, didn't I, Dave, about the single striker up there. And poor Morris is getting battered, absolutely battered.
Because Jacob wasn't supporting him at all.
I'll be honest, I don't even start on Jacob Brown as well. He should come off after about 20 minutes. He was dreadful.
I have no words. But on 60 minutes, you go, here we go, a 60-minute sub, right? And then you see Adebayo coming on. You go, well, don't take Morris off. Let's put two up there. Or he'll put Brown up and he'll have the three of them up there, change shape and everything else. And you think, yes, here we go. A manager that will make an early a formation change, an early change. He did that on 60 minutes. And what happened on 61 minutes?
Well, just before we talk about transfers, because let's touch on the goal. And for the benefit of Millwall supporters, it was a pretty good shot. It was a pretty nice strike, wasn't it?
As soon as he hit it, I said goal. Yeah. It was a good goal.
Yeah, it was.
It was a really weak tackle from Mads Anderson. He just, sort of just flicked a foot at it. It bounced to him nicely, chested it up. He did put it away, but again, soft defending.
Soft defending, but a really good finish.
Yeah.
You can't take away
he
the finish.
took
And
advantage of it.
Kaminsky had no chance.
No.
The only bit of class in the game, wasn't it, really?
Yeah.
That's it. I ain't talking about this game. I think there's nothing more you can say. I think post-match when... you can say your views. We're doing it right now, and I make no apologies for whatever you guys are saying. It's your own views. That's the main important thing. But if you're at the stadium and you want to express yourself, you have the right to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I did express myself, put it that way. But I didn't, obviously, I won't boo or anything else, but there was a few select choice words that were said.
You can understand the frustration, can't you?
I think as well, the disappointing thing, we said about Adebayo coming on 60 minutes, and obviously then we went one down, but he then brought Nelson on, Jones on. Nothing changed. There's nobody lighting it up. There's no game changers. There's no...
Can I just highlight one moment with, I'm pretty sure it was Isaiah Jones down your end, Dave. He was doing like 17 or 18 step overs.
That was great. The step overs he was really good at.
And then the guy just took the ball off him.
Yeah.
And I said to my mate, that is Indiana Jones. You've got the guy with the sword and he just gets shot. And that was exactly what happened then.
Yeah, no, actually, I wondered how many more he was going to do before he lost the ball. Disappointing. And you just think we've only won 1 point from our last 7 games. It's Luton's first defeat against Millwall in 6 games. And this is a really interesting one. Kaminsky was the first Luton keeper to save a penalty since Simon Sluga in 2021. And I would say that when we had the penalty save, you think it was going to change, but it's just so depressing. And now we've got to think about a few more days left of the transfer window. Now, rumours going around right now is that we've gone in for your Wickham guy, Cone, again. And like you touched on earlier, worth 6 million. Doesn't mean to say we're paying 6 million up front. It just means it's worth 6 million. If I was Wickham, I'd be biting her hand off. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. But this is another sad thing that we're in this situation with him, if what's been reported is correct. Because we've failed with previous windows, now we're in a situation where all the clubs in the Football League go, they're desperate. Yep. And they've got some Premier League money, so they're holding us to ransom. Because we've screwed up on previous windows, we are now getting our asses bitten now.
We as fans must be incredibly naive if we don't think there's been a lot of work going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It must be incredibly naive if we don't believe that the club are working to sign some players, right?
Yeah.
So
I don't think anyone's saying that they're not working hard.
Well, some people are saying that...
Are they working smart?
Hard. We have that money now. You're right, Steve. People might be taking the P with regards to prices or whatever else, or wages or agents' fees. But if you think about it, and I'll throw this one out to Batara and Darren first, and then you come back to you, Steve. But how many do we need? How many signs do you think we need?
Probably 11 at this point. Whole new squad.
Well, that's 4 less than I was going to say. I reckon we need 15. I'm not even joking. We need an absolute overhaul. Realistically,
we do. Realistically, an overhaul could happen in the summer. But for now,
let's be realistic about this window.
Yeah, in this window,
let's go on positions. Realistically, I mean, I think we need a new left back. If he's going to play Doughty out wide up top, I think we need a new left back. We need a new central midfielder, a creative midfielder.
2,
because there's nothing going on in that midfield.
And you need a striker.
Yeah, and also a striker. And I also think we need another winger.
So 4 or 5 bare minimum in the next 4 days.
Because Jacob Brown cannot be playing that wide, like we keep saying. Everyone keeps saying it. And I will not keep going if I see Jacob Brown playing on the right again. If he keeps playing him on the right of midfield, I will probably will not turn up next time. I will look at the team news at an hour before the game and I will go, do you know what? Am I fucked?
Oh dear.
But equally, to get 4 or 5 in, I think there's one spare place, isn't there? I think with Taylor going out, does that create a space? So because you can only have 25, 26.
Yeah, 25.
So we've got a lot of work to do in 4 days to ship some out and get some in. I'm amazed Woodrow's still on our books. I'm surprised he hasn't gone out.
He doesn't get game time, does he?
Doesn't get game time. But you've got to try and ship some out before you can get some in. they've got a lot of work to do over the next few days.
I'll be honest.
Well,
as
they've been
well,
working. Generally, come on, boys. We must realise.
We need to look at players like Victor Moses as well, who's probably, I don't know how much he's getting paid, but he does not need to get paid by us. He needs to go somewhere else also.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, if you're in the recruitment team, you're aware of the squad rotation that you need to do if you need to bring people in, surely.
Yeah, I mean, you can't deny, though, that the recruitment team have found the last 2 years very difficult.
Who was the last player we signed who's made a significant difference?
Bob Hatton.
Ross Barkley.
Barkley.
Yeah, Barkley.
So,
that was inspired.
But okay, so Barkley aside, do you know what I mean? When we were coming up through the leagues, it was unbelievable. We were recruiting for players from the league above. And,
I mean,
and
Keane and Dewsbury Hall, I mean, that was an inspired signing.
So, loans. Why are we not? There must be some Premier League loans out there.
Of course, there's got to be. There's got to be something going on.
Do you know what I mean? Though we just the recruitment team have fallen really short the last 18 months.
I can think of 3 players off the top of my head right now. I'm probably not going to say them because I don't want to be disrespectful to them. But there's 3 players I can think of that are within the squad, match day squad, that should not even be nowhere near. They shouldn't even be near the under 18s, let alone the first team.
I mean, what I will say is, it's such a difficult situation that we're in at the moment. But what is it today? 27th. And there's been little, and we're saying in the next 4 days we want 4 players, and 4 players that are going to make a real difference. But if they bring, I think it's unrealistic.
If the club
to think that's going to happen
in the next 4 days in the window bring in 4 players, are you going to moan them? Are we going to wait and see what they are?
Well, it depends on the kind of players they are.
I don't mean you personally. Are we going to moan? Are we going to moan about? He's not good enough. He's not done. If Cone comes in from Wickham, are we going to go, right, come on then, show us what you can do? Or are you going to go,
of course,
he's not experienced enough?
I'd be excited.
If we bring in an older person or someone from a Premier League club that's not been playing, are we going to go, this is brilliant? Or are we going to go, well, this is panic buying?
Well, it all depends for me on how agile they are and how athletic they are as a player. Because if we sign anyone, albeit from a Premier League team that hasn't really played, but has had a half a decent career, I think the problem is we need pace, and we don't get any more pace in that side. I said it the other week, we are fucked. We need pace.
Pace.
We are so slow.
Pace, a bit of trickery, an exciting player to get the crowd going. I actually, Doughty played a lovely, delightful ball across. It was like he picked it up just inside their half turn and pinged one across, and the whole crowd went, oh, an exciting forwards ball, and that was it. So we need some creativity.
I'm going to throw it out there, like we say about creativity. I don't think the issue for me is not the back 4 or whatever it is, or the strikers. It's the midfield.
Yeah,
that's the issue for me. We have nothing in midfield. Nothing.
And this is the fear. If spending 6 million on a lad, and I would be excited if we get him over the line and we get him in. Of course, I'll be excited. Luton Town spending 6 million on a striker. I mean, let's go back X amount of years.
He's only going to be any good if we give him some service.
Yes,
yeah, exactly.
And then if we find people to give service, then actually, is he going to be any better than Adebayo or Morris? If we give Morris and Adebayo the service, they are goal scorers.
They're a certain type of goal scorer, though. They're not a pacey goal scorer.
No, they're not.
They're not channel runners.
I mean, do we know how fast Kone is?
Don't know. I mean, there's some crazy money being thrown around at the moment, particularly by Hull and Sheffield United.
Yeah.
Loans that with not an obligation, but the chance to make permanent. I mean, but they're really...
Because they do not want to go down, Steve.
Yeah.
However,
and Sheffield United want to go up, but
but they've got multi-millionaires backing them, haven't they? Multi-millionaires backing them, and we don't want to be in that position. Surely, do we, lads? We don't want to be in that position where
we can't afford to be.
we overspend.
But there's nothing wrong with signing a certain level of quality player.
No, I get
every
that.
now and then, though, Dave.
Yeah, I understand that, but in my lifetime of watching Luton, and it's been a long bloody lifetime of watching Luton. We never spent that much money. I remember when we signed bloody Anderson. It was that few 400k, if that was that. Well, it might have been less than that, boys. I can't remember. But to spend £5 million on one player is incredible as a Luton Town supporter, and £6 million on an unproven player.
Unfortunately, that's this day and age, though. It's the times we're living in, though, isn't it?
If we hadn't got promoted,
League One,
if we hadn't got promoted,
£15 million.
If we hadn't got promoted, we wouldn't be spending anywhere near this money.
No, and unfortunately, if we hadn't got promoted, we might have been a bit of a same sort of situation, because we might have stuck with the same players. I'm not being rude to him.
No, but I think equally, you'd probably have a bunch of players that we had. What we thrived on was players over the hunger.
Yeah.
They're not getting paid anywhere near the levels of that league, and they're trying to get a move up.
Yes, yeah.
Whereas we've got a bunch of players now that are being paid too much for the level they're playing at.
Yeah, well, we've got to stop the signings like Moses and Baptiste. I remember when, Nathan Jones, he wanted young players, athletic players desperate to improve. And really, it just seems to be injury prone or one more paycheck. And we've got to stop that, because these people are injury prone for a reason, like the Shandon Baptiste one, if we can keep him fit, then we've got a great player. He's proved throughout his career that he can't stay fit.
I think
the signings like that, in my opinion, were absolutely ridiculous.
Did Baptiste, I think, was he at Brentford, was it 4 years, I believe, or something like 3 years? And he made something like 40-something appearances or something like that.
If that.
The same as Walsh as well. Walsh was another one. Made similar appearances in the same amount of time. So yeah, I do see this, and like I said about the whole Victor Moses thing as well. I mean, where even is he? Was he even on the bench Saturday?
We've missed a really good opportunity the last 2 years. Our stock last year was the highest it's ever been. We had a real opportunity then to capitalise on the feel-good factor and our status to get in sort of some young, hungry, quality players. Our stock now is lower than when we were going up through League One into the Championship. We are lower than that now. No one really is going to want to come and join us.
Not only that, Steve, the trouble where we're at the moment is we gained all these new fans and worldwide notability, and that's all gone. And not only are we going to lose those fans, and I take my youngest with me. He's been to about 4 or 5 games.
What's his name?
Oliver.
Yes.
And even he's like, and he talks about other clubs, and we've lost.
Well, you got to be stronger, Darren.
Well,
yes.
no, I am.
Yeah, you have to be strong.
But we've lost all of that momentum. But not only that, we're in danger of losing existing fans.
Well,
do you know what I mean? To the matches.
Oh, okay. But that's the problem, isn't we? When we've been playing well in the past. The ground is full. When we got relegated to conference, sometimes there'd be 4,500, 5k of us there.
Yeah, but you're seeing it every week now. Empty seats.
People should be turning up to football. I know obviously there's a couple of games this season I haven't been to. Obviously not through choice. Well, one was through choice, but the other.
Well, you just said you're not going to come if you see that Jacob Brown on the sheet.
But that's different. Do you know what? He's got me there, hasn't he? Fuck
but this is where it's going. I think if people have got something else to do, or the chance of doing something else, they're kind of going, "Oh, well, I'll go and do that instead of watching." Yeah. And the danger is if we go down, the attendances are going to drop, and everything else.
Well, that's a natural thing. The attendance will drop, and it dropped in the past, but they pick up if we go up again.
But in 3 seasons' time, we're going to be in a 25,000 seater stadium, and it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. And do you know what? That might attract some more people to come because it's a new stadium,
and they'll have 20,000 seats to choose from.
Yeah.
Right. Listen, before we go on, let's talk about. We asked you guys. The transfer window is ajar. It's really close. It's getting close to closing. How many signings do we need, and will the new signings be enough to keep us up? Andy said we need a left back, a striker, a number 10, and a decent creative midfielder. At present, I cannot see us getting any more points until we play Plymouth. We look abysmal. No fight, heart, or passion. God, these are depressing. Fraser,
that's true though.
Need a creative midfielder. We've all said that tonight. Two strikers, not just one. 2 strikers. A centre back who can play left back and a left back. Woodrow out. Joe Johnson, Lockyer, Anderson out on loan to get game time. Somehow we're still a decent 3-game run away from getting away from the bottom.
Yeah, it's a crazy division.
Yeah.
But we need to change sharpish. Yeah, that's an ideal response really. If we get. I think we'll talk about the next 3 in a minute. John, we'd ideally get 4 to 5. Anything less than 2, including a striker ready for the first team, would be terrible. it would be great to move on some players. Fair play for good service, but we clearly need some new energy.
Yep.
Mark says, it's a pity we can't buy confidence and belief, as I believe this is what's lacking. Yes, we do need to strengthen, need pace up front, as this is the main problem, hence why the majority of goals are from set pieces. Looking back on previous season's goals, we attack quickly with numbers. This just hasn't happened this season. And finally, Chris says, we need a genuine leader of a centre-back and a creative midfielder as a minimum. The signings need to be quality, which probably means good loans from a higher league, like Carter Vickers, KDH, and both were immediate and positive impact. These signings need to inspire the squad and the crowd to believe otherwise. Otherwise, we'll just keep spiraling.
Everyone's saying the same things. Everyone can see it.
Yep.
It is, it's the worst we've been as a fan base for a number of seasons. It's
understandably they're
I
sick
think
of it.
I suppose for me personally, the frustrating thing is the vitriol really going against not just the team, the staff, the board, and infighting between the fans. It's not nice.
It isn't. No one wants it to be that way.
Next 5 fixtures are somewhat daunting. Sheffield Wednesday away, Sunderland away. We have a 900-seat allocation for Sunderland away midweek. If you're going to that game based on our form, then good luck to you guys. And if Mark, if you're walking to Sunderland, you're mad. You're mad. Sheffield Wednesday away is the next one. What are we thinking?
Defeat.
Okay.
Sheffield Wednesday.
Let's get your score. Let's get your score predictions
you want
out.
scores? 3-1 Sheffield Wednesday.
Did anybody notice Jacob's one earlier? Because he did put it through, but I can't remember.
Unbelievable. I think he's gone 2-1 Luton.
Do you know what? I'm with him. I'm going the same. I reckon the rot has got to stop.
No, Dave, the rot has only just set in.
Yeah, 2-1 Luton, he's gone.
Good old Jacob. I'm going with Jacob 2-1 Luton. Let's go with that one.
I'm going 2-0 Sheffield Wednesday.
Right, okay.
I'm going 1-1.
It makes no difference what we think. It'll be what it is.
Clearly, because we are doing rubbish. Although, Botaro, I think you're still top of the table.
Sheffield Wednesday away, Sunderland away,
Fuck, I'm there.
Sunderland away, Sheffield United at home. Out of those 3, if we get anything, it'd be brilliant.
Yeah.
But Plymouth, we have to beat Plymouth. And then we've got the big one at Vicarage Road. And I'm thinking I might be selling my ticket at this rate.
I was going to say, you just don't want that fixture at the moment. I mean, they're not sort of pulling up trees or anything.
Preston went there and won.
Yeah. Could be sacking cleverly. Shock.
It's a crazy world, isn't it? It's a crazy world. I think the depressing time, it has to change. And if it doesn't change, if we're in League One next season, it will be an absolute disaster of a season.
Well, it's really turning out to be a disaster of a season, isn't it?
And then they'd have to act. They'd have to, do a Birmingham and just chuck so much money at it. Because if you don't come straight back up from League One, you're going to sit and rock.
Going to say, because the money you get for being in League One is not sustainable for us.
Yeah.
Well, if you're still with us, well done for getting this
podcast
far.
is sponsored by the Samaritans.
It has been poor, isn't it? And you just don't know when it's going to turn. I hope it turns at the weekend, but we just don't know. If you've got this far, thank you so much for listening. Thanks for watching. It's good to have all 3 of you back. It's nice to have the 4 of us here together. Long may that continue. If you haven't liked and subscribed already, please go and do that. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for doing that. If you're listening on your podcast stuff, then please go like and subscribe. Steve just put his hand up going, Dave, I need to mention someone that mentioned me on the podcast, or you.
I just want to say hello to Tom that I saw at Oxford.
Tom,
had a quick chat. He said he really enjoys the pod. God knows why, but he's obviously got nothing else to do with his time. But no, thanks for watching, Tom, and see you again, mate.
Well, on that note, let's all stay positive. We're all off to see Darren's adult panto.
Oh, no, we're not.
Oh, yes, we are. Darren's written an adult panto. We're all going to see that. Cinders, if you look out for it next time, because you're missing out a good thing to
watch. It better
watch.
be good, Darren. Better be good.
It better be good, yeah. And Darren said all the beers are on him, on his tab.
Fantastic.
That's why he said it was cheap, wasn't it? He's paying like 50% towards it, I heard.
Yeah.
At least.
Thank you for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you all again after the weekend, and let's hope we come back with some positive news.
Lovely.
Take care.
Thank you, people.
See ya.